If a game that has flown under my radar ends up winning the best RPG of the year at the 2019 Game Awards, I'm going to want to play it. This was the case with Disco Elysium, an RPG that is very different to what you'd expect from the genre. At its core, this is a murder mystery with no battle system. Instead, everything is handled through dialogue trees and skill checks. Really, it's much more like a detective sim with some traditional CRPG elements. I was hooked on Disco Elysium from the start, but I know that this game will not appeal to everyone as the imbalance between action and reading is massive. Disco takes things very slowly and reveals its highly addictive narrative with a text-based script of over 1 million words, which is insane. If you like to run and gun or loot and shoot, then you may want to think twice about giving this one a go, but that would be a shame as Disco Elysium is one hell of an awesome ride. Let's take a look.
Everett, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister? I see you're not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you?
Have you ever woken up from a massive night out of excessive partying, drinking and shenanigans wondering what the hell happened last night? Well, that's a story with this guy, except in his case it's probably a hell of a lot worse than what you've experienced. You see, he can't remember his name, his job or even why he came to the small town of Revachol. For the sake of spoilers, I'm just going to call him Bob. You see, Bob is an alcoholic and he's had so much party juice that his memory has completely been wiped out. After stumbling out of his trashed hotel room with a crazy hangover, Bob soon realizes that he's actually a cop sent to this small town to solve a murder. Even worse is that he's lost his badge, gun and car, has no cash and basically terrorized the town, making a complete ass of himself during his drunken rampage the night before. Things aren't looking too good for Bob, but it's up to him and another detective from a different station, Kim, to piece together the clues and find out who killed this guy. Yep, the one that's currently dangling from the rope. With the murder investigation being the overall goal, the story progresses through many smaller tasks and these all eventually piece together, and for the most part, what you do and when you do it is entirely up to you. Just like a true murder case, some things won't make sense at the beginning, but they all will eventually tie together, and the way that Disco does this is very commendable. Examples of some of these tasks include finding the murder weapon to more seemingly trivial tasks such as finding who has access to the locked bin outside the inn. My personal theories as to who the murderer was went back and forth constantly, and I loved this. Every interaction that you make with the many NPCs will be presented with a truckload of text, and if you don't like reading, then don't play Disco Elysium. Overall, the game is very well written and highly engaging, even if there are a few typos here and there, but these are being patched up. Exploring Revachol and interacting with the world and many NPCs was always interesting, and this is helped by the unique art style, which looks amazing. Occasionally, there are also some voice-acted scenes, and I have to make a point that the voice acting is top tier and really helps bring life to the characters and the world around them. I was completely hooked on just about every word that I read and genuinely wanted to learn more about the fictional world of Disco Elysium.
Hardcore! Skibbity, skipper danger! I am the rearranger!
Aside from solving the murder, you're also going to want to find out about who you actually are, or were, before binging on the fun juice. Making these discoveries was just as fun as solving the murder, and I found myself clinging to every word as Bob's past was slowly revealed. Who you were cannot be changed, but who you are now is entirely up to the player. The choices and actions that you take in the game will define what kind of cop and person you turn out to be. You could play things by the book, trying to make up for your embarrassing binge. Then again, you may want to cling on to the only thing that you know about yourself, that you're a raging alcoholic and substance abuser. Or you could just be a total ass and do things like sneak out at night away from Kim and give drugs to young kids. The options that you were given is one thing that makes this journey so interesting.
How the realm may rest there, down through the mist there, toward the Seven Sisters, toward those pale cliffs there.
While Kim is the only person that tags along with you, you do have other party members that are with you at all times. I'm talking about the different parts of your mind and body. Not only do they act as skills for skill checks, but they are also there with you, telling you what they think at all times, provided that each skill is at a high enough level. For instance, upping your encyclopedia skill will cause that part of your brain to constantly explain what things mean. Perception, on the other hand, measures how well you can hear or see something unusual. Electrochemistry was one of my personal favorites, as it's always on your back trying to get you to take drugs to solve your problems. These skills are not only very helpful, but their constant conflicting desires also create some hilarious moments. For instance, your logic skill may want you to solve an issue in a logical manner, while your drama skill just wants you to make a scene in an overdramatic way. This system works incredibly well and is one of the factors that makes Disco Elysium so unique and memorable. The core gameplay in Disco Elysium involves interacting with others and taking on skill checks. This basically means that it'll compare a particular skill's value of yours against a predefined value and provide you with a success rate if you choose that path. So for instance, if you've built your character with more physical stats, it will be much easier to pass skill checks with physical type skills, such as punching someone in the face. The success rate of these skill checks can also be enhanced in a few ways, such as changing your equipment, taking drugs, or even at times having completed related tasks or conversation threads. If you fail the skill check, you may take some damage to your morale or health and have to find another way to reach your goal. Or in many cases, you could just return later and attempt the skill check once you've increased the value of that associated skill. Some skill checks will initially have a very low success rate early in the game, requiring you to come back later. And to change things up a little, you'll sometimes come across red skill checks that can never be retried, and I liked how this added a greater level of risk to your interactions. Another feature that needs to be mentioned is the thought cabinet, which adds another way to boost the stats of Bob. Through playing the game, various thoughts will be put into Bob's head, and by using a skill point, he can unlock these thoughts. After a defined amount of in-game time, these thoughts, which may start off reducing your stats, will then become internalized and provide you with permanent benefits. Let's take the hobo cop thought for instance. If you choose to refer to yourself as homeless during a conversation, you'll be able to internalize the hobo cop thought. While internalizing, you will have a negative 1 to your composure skill, but after 4 hours of in-game time, you'll be able to sell empty bottles for more money. However, this is a risk-reward system, as some internalized thoughts could provide negative effects. There are 53 thoughts that can be internalized, and even though I completed every quest that I came across, I didn't come close to discovering them all. I thought the thought cabinet was a very cool feature, and I really loved the flexibility that it provides in building your character. I am very grateful that Disco Elysium won RPG of the Year at the Game Awards 2019, else I probably wouldn't have ever given it a go. While it is a lot different to what you'd expect in an RPG, what it attempts to do is near perfect. Its highly addictive, well-written detective narrative hooked me from start to finish, and the countless quality interactions I had with the deep world and interesting characters within made it very difficult to put down. The ways that you can build your character into whatever kind of cop you want is also a lot of fun, and having the different parts of your mind act as both skill checks and different party members greatly enhanced the journey. It is very hard to find fault in what Disco Elysium is trying to do. There's not meant to be action around every corner or a highly interactive combat system. It is meant to be a slow burner with its rich lore presented in a million words of text. For this reason, Disco Elysium is not for everyone, and that's totally fine, but if there's anything in this review that intrigues you, then I highly recommend that you give the 2019 RPG of the Year a fair go. What did you think of Disco Elysium? Was it worth RPG of the Year? Let me know in the comments. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you like this, hit like and sub for more RPG content. See you next time.